Welcome, everyone! I'm really excited for today's conversation. I have with me Gailanne Dill, a legal assistant at a small to mid-sized law firm in rural Iowa. Gailanne, it was immediately clear from your background that you have a strong focus on quality of work and the client's journey. Having supported a variety of cases, thanks for joining us.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
So, first off, let's start out with what is your role at the law firm?
Okay, so I'm the first point of contact for the law office, and so I answer the phones, obviously. I greet people when they come in, but I do so much more, and a lot of our clients, I believe, think that my job stops there, but I'm actually the person that's also going to be preparing their wills, their powers of attorney, their contracts for them. I'm the person that's going to be preparing their title opinions. If they're doing any kind of legal work in our office, it's likely going to be me or another person, but mostly it's just the two of us, are doing a lot of the preparation of the documentation that's needed and of the actual documents, the legal documents that are needed. So I work hand in hand with the lawyer. The lawyer meets with the clients. He's the one that will talk with them, give them legal advice, gathers information. I also gather information. We have a good method for gathering information that I like. There is some cumbersomeness to that because you have to get a lot of data from people right off the bat. And so we have what we call intakes. And so I have to give them intakes for them to fill out. And from that, I put that information all into Clio, which is a legal program that mostly just collects the basic data about people. I put that into this database. This is very useful for our attorney because at any time he can look up a client. He'll have their name, address, phone number. He'll have all their relatives that are pertinent or the other party. He'll have their basic information, their date of birth, if he needs their social security number, he has that. So all of that, their address, phone number, all of that I put into Clio.
Would Clio be sort of like a CRM system, basically like a database of all the customers, all the clients and their information, sort of like a database for different clients, right?
Absolutely. So that collects all the data on the clients, and also it's how we do our billing as well.
Oh, that's amazing. That's a great system. And I mean, let's take a pause on that for just a little bit. We'll jump into the technology part in a bit, but to start with, could you share a little bit about different practice areas of law that you work on? Sounds like there are a lot.
Oh yeah, really. It's family law. So under that umbrella, there are things like custody, divorces, basic things like changing your name, those kinds of documentation. There are adoptions. So under that umbrella, then we have the umbrella of real estate. So under real estate, we have everything from doing title opinions, which is absolutely necessary. Iowa is an abstracting state. And so in Iowa, we do title opinions. A title opinion is the attorney's opinion of the abstract. The abstract is the history book of a piece of real estate. For example, what liens, encumbrances, sales, all the transactions, all the deeds, all of that is in this big, thick book. The attorney actually reads those in a short period of time, makes notes, and when the attorney can't read them, I read them. But we make the notes, then we put together what's the attorney's opinion. The attorney's opinion is, does this land have clear title that can be conveyed to the buyer? So we do these title opinions. I do several of these a day. So I do at least 2 title opinions a day, sometimes up to 6 of those. And so the attorney has to read that thick document, and it can be up to 3 inches thick. You don't read it word for word. There's ways of reading it. You read certain entries, but you have to look through the whole thing. So it's a big task. but it's absolutely essential. And so
That's
we
awesome.
do.
No,
Yeah,
go ahead.
go
Yeah.
ahead.
Oh, that's okay. So we do these title opinions. Then we also do all of the documentation needed to do the transaction. We might be doing the deeds. We might be doing the closing. We'll do the settlement statement to make sure that the payments get taken care of, the abstractor gets paid, the various things get paid, like septic or inspections or taxes have to be prorated. So we do all of that as part of the real estate. Also, under real estate, that umbrella, there's all sorts of transactions. Like maybe there's a piece of land that nobody knows who owns it. We've actually had that. It's really unusual, but happens. We have to do things like quiet title actions. Um, Sometimes we have to do tax sales. We have to do um, maybe family members just want to deed property to their kids or relatives. So under that umbrella, we have this big real estate umbrella. And then we have probate umbrella. So under the probate umbrella, we do have probate that we do. Thankfully, I don't do a whole lot of that. We have other people who do. I'm kind of glad because I'm pretty busy. I do assist with some of that, um, but under that umbrella, though, I do assist with the wills, powers of attorney, anything like that. So really, we have several hats, in the law office.
Yeah, sounds like you're mostly focused on real estate.
So I have a
Real estate's
question.
big.
I have a question. What major
Okay.
shifts have you been seeing in the industry right now? Particularly, what are you dealing with?
There are major shifts going on. One of the things that's happening is that attorneys are specializing. So our attorney I worked for 12 years for an older attorney who is beginning to retire now. And his emphasis was real estate and probate. Those were his. He used to do family law years ago, but he kind of started easing out of that because real estate really took off, and we do a lot of real estate. So, but he also did a lot of probate, and we did a lot of wills and powers of attorney. So he was specializing. He was kind of really up with his cohort as far as his practice. Our younger attorney, who is now really taking over, he does everything: litigation, family law, real estate. He does probate. I mean, they do everything. So we have another young attorney who just started, which is good, as we need him. We've been sort of in a legal desert a little bit out here. The reason is that a bunch of very good attorneys, they are aging out and retiring one by one. And we haven't had as many young attorneys coming up in the ranks to take their place. We're fortunate, super fortunate in our office to have a young attorney who has stepped in, and now he's brought in another young attorney. That is a huge blessing. It keeps our office very busy.
That's amazing. Would you say that the industry trend right now will be sort of, especially for rural area, to sort of like shifting from like a more specialized approach to like a generalist approach, sort of?
True. And I think that's happening because of the lack of the younger attorneys setting up
Right.
office in town.
And you mentioned the legal desert idea in different rural areas. So it sounds like really the demand, people need legal help, but they couldn't get any, and they need the help from different specialties, and simply there's just not enough resource to satisfy the demand and satisfy the need.
Yes, this is true. So that keeps offices like ours, and there are a couple other law offices in town, extremely busy. And so we have constant calls, constant people coming in, and we want to serve them. We really, want to help these clients. one of our challenges is the fact that we have to constantly triage our files because there are constant emergencies people are having. And it might be that they procrastinated a little bit. It might be that something suddenly happened and they need help. But we have a lot of emergency type situations. So we might have been working on several files, and had several clients we were already taking care of. And suddenly somebody comes in and they need something now. They need it now, or tomorrow. They need it immediately. And we have to shift gears. Actually, we have to shift gears several times a day because of this kind of thing. Right. That's hard. And someone might say, hey, that's not fair to the person who had their ducks in a row and they started out months ago trying to get stuff done. And we feel that. We try to give them as much priority. It's just that sometimes these emergencies just hit us, and slip in. And so we feel bad about that, and that's a challenge for us. That's a challenge, is that constant need to triage. But you have to prioritize, and you have to reshift your priorities daily, constantly. So
how are you thinking about ensuring a seamless client-obsessed process from the initial consultation through closing the case?
Yeah, it sounds like to streamline this, it sounds like there are a lot of bottlenecks, and we want to have this process more streamlined and a little bit faster, or maybe more, if they need help right away, and there's not enough resource. Yeah, back to that question, right?
Yeah.
What are the bottlenecks, and what are the bottlenecks of this whole client's journey, right? From when they first call, they've never heard about this law office, the first call, to eventually closing the case, this whole client journey. What are some bottlenecks that are taking longer than it should be, or that could be streamlined? What do you think about this whole client's journey?
Oh yes, there definitely is. And we've been trying to work on some of those bottlenecks, but we've identified some of them. The good intake and the good Clio program for input was essential to us. That helped us quite a bit. However, also, like in real estate is constant, and it's always an emergency because they are wanting to close, they have deadlines, but you might not have gotten the abstract from the abstractor. No offense to the abstractor, because they're getting the abstract at the last minute from the real estate agents. And then we have real estate agents that move up the deadlines on us all the time. And the problem is that they don't give us good information. We end up doing the real estate agents' jobs for them a lot. That is a real problem for us. So I made a form and kind of, especially the ones who kept moving up their closing, dates. They wanted to keep moving up the closing dates. I'm like, very good, fill out this form. You know why? Because they won't give us the information we need, and everything stops. The train is running on the track, and I've got the abstract, and I'm getting ready to do the title opinion, and then all of a sudden I realize, oh, I do not have the buyer's address. I do not have the lender. I do not have, if I don't have the information that the real estate agent was supposed to give us, I don't have it, then I've got to stop what I'm doing and get it.
Yeah.
And so that is a real problem for us. And so I did, develop a form. It's fillable online. I was like, just email it to them, fill this out. If they email it back to me, I can just pull the information right off the form.
And perfect.
Get in.
It sounds like one bottleneck is really this document collection, this streamlined, okay, you called, it's this type of case, it's a real estate case, it's this specific niche of real estate case, you need this list of documents, you need this checklist. And it will be way more efficient if we engage again after you complete each item of this checklist.
Yes. Yeah. Actually, if I could have them just like fill out a form online, okay, great. You want to do a real estate transaction with us? Fantastic. Fill out this form. Honestly, Just give me the information. I am so happy. I want to make sure that we get that closing done. I want to make sure that we get them to that finish line. I want to see the success for the clients. I want that really bad. I need to have the tools to get there. And the tools really, this train runs on information, okay? When we don't have information, this train doesn't run as well as it should. So we want the train to run down the track. And boy, a very good like central data source, collection source would be fantastic for us. Right now, I'm it, basically. I'm a central data collection source. I have to get people to fill out forms, get that information. I put it in the computer so that it can be used. But, honestly, a central collection data source would be so helpful.
Yeah.
And I really believe in,
yeah.
I'm a high believer in spreadsheets,
Oh yeah, those are very helpful.
So I use spreadsheets. Like I log in every single abstract that comes into the office. I log in.
Yeah.
I started this this database a long time ago because it's information. It's so important. I got the name of the seller, the name of the buyer, the address, the date the abstract came in, the date we did the title opinion. I've got what the lender is and who's closing it. So all that is on my database. That's been hugely important because at any time, somebody says, who sold what to what? Do you remember? And I'm like, sure, I can look that up. And I got it. That kind of thing is vital for us to run our train. And the same thing goes, actually, this kind of thing would be very useful in the probate because that's a slower moving train. The probate is a slower moving train. Honestly, there's certain waiting periods in there that the government imposes. There's waiting periods, like for example, when a person passes, there's a 40-day waiting period. That's absolutely mandatory. That is from the government, But there's deadlines and various waiting periods, and something like that would be very helpful to us. And we have sort of our own form of it. We've got a kind of a spreadsheet form that kind of reminds us, okay, this needs to be done here, this needs to be done here. But it's nice, we still have to go and put it into our calendar to remind us. Just like I have to put it into my calendar, hey, check on this, did this close, did this, so that the abstract can go on and get continued. So those kind of things, those databases are really important.
Yeah.
Having a central source would be best.
Yeah. Yeah, and having it feels like sometimes it still can slip through. It's like you a deadline changed or a piece of information didn't get caught and it slipped through your calendar, and sometimes that happens.
Yeah, that kind of thing could happen. So some central source would be absolutely helpful.
Yeah, it sounds like really, if we look at it, it feels like it's, like you said, it's a train run on information. It's really information exchange, the new information that we need to collect for each customized case, the precedents within the law firm, the resources and templates that are used prior within the organization, and also just the information public domain, including the constantly changing codes and laws and precedents and different rulings on different type of cases. It's really the merge to merge all those pieces of information together for a case to go smoothly.
That's absolutely true, and that would be a very helpful thing. One of the things too that's a challenge, and this actually reminds me of a parable from the Bible, which is kind of funny. So there's this parable in the Bible about this widow. The widow is she keeps bothering a judge. She keeps pestering the judge. Judge, I need you, get me mercy, get me justice against this person, who's oppressing me. I need justice. And they call her the persistent widow. Sometimes they call it also the unjust judge, but I'm not saying anything about judges. Judges are great. I like judges. Don't get me wrong. We need judges. actually too. But she keeps, like pestering him and pestering and pestering and pestering. We do have clients who get nervous or get worried or concerned, and I feel bad for them. I mean, we bring them in, we get all their information, we have their good, they get to meet with the attorney. We say, okay, we're going to call you when everything's ready. But it's hard for them to wait. And so some of them will call us every single day. But they don't realize that my job is not just to answer the phone and just answer the door. They don't realize that I'm the person trying to sit there and type their will. If they will just quit calling me, I could get it done.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's bringing even the third bottleneck. I'm realizing there are three different bottlenecks. Number one is really the information game. How to retrieve, how to gather information, retrieve information. And it sounds like for that bottleneck, you develop a pretty good system, a spreadsheet to record different customers' name, different clients' name, and their information. That sounds like the first bottleneck. That some sort, there was an initial attempt in addressing that bottleneck. Second bottleneck is really the keeping track of the timeline of each case. Sort of for each case, there's a timeline. It's 40 days after probate. It would be nice to have sort of like a emerged timeline when it's automatically built timeline, and each day you open and you know what you need to take care of that day. That's sort of like the second bottleneck. And it looks like the third bottleneck is really, you mentioned that you're drafting while they're calling. It would be nice, they need you to draft something today, and they're calling tomorrow wanting it to be already drafted, already sent out, and maybe the case already closed already.
Yeah.
It would be nice for that process to move faster. So I feel like those are three bottlenecks. Would you agree?
Absolutely. And there's a fourth bottleneck.
Okay.
So the fourth, we're trying to address this. Through the Clio system, we also do our billing. We're trying to address this now. They had to do a lot of training with us because we were new to Clio and hadn't learned how to use Clio. So they were trying to get us to learn it, which is wonderful. And we are. And this is starting to get addressed and get better. It's getting the information in. Okay, so we did this, we did this, we did this. We put it in so that later we can get the billing done. We're actually really reasonable in our billing. A lot of people don't realize that. They always assume that attorneys are going to cost an arm and a leg. Now, some might. Some will charge every time you call. Like if we charged our clients every single time they called about something, they'd really be racking up some bills. But we don't. We're actually really patient. We try to be very patient with our clients. We love our clients. We care about them. We want to help them. Really, this is why we're in it, is because we like to help people. We want to help people. We want to get them a good solution to their situation, and they need the help, But we also have to pay our bills. We have to pay our people, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes we get so busy that it's hard for us to even bill. And then they're like, now after everything gets done for them, they're like, well, where's our bill? Where's our bill? Where's our bill? We used to prepare the bill to have it, like if they came in and signed, okay, and here's your bill if you're ready,
Yeah.
But
I mean, they're eager to pay it. Yeah, they're eager to pay it, but there's simply no time to bill them. And every day that you're not receiving it, it's losing opportunity cost of the interest that's rolling.
Exactly. So that's another area that we're trying to address to make more efficient. This is all a learning curve because we're learning new software, but I'm certain we'll get it. It just takes time, but it's getting better. But those are bottlenecks that we've experienced.
It sounds like you are having to put a lot of time into even just putting the data and the information into the system. In your ideal world.
Yeah, well, I also think that even within that billing bottleneck, there are actually two bottlenecks. Number one is actually, we simply don't have time to put this bill together and send it out. And number two is that we really want to help people. We don't want to charge them too much. But if we're spending this much time, we have to because it's resources being used. So it sounds like the other half of the bottleneck is that the eagerness to help those people is to sort of make things more efficient, to sort of make, if I can do less billable hours to get this task done, I would, because I want to help them, and I want to help more people.
Exactly. And we really do. We want to get to all of them. We want to help them. We have some clients that really try to push their way to the front of the line.
Yeah,
It's hard because we really can't say, hey, look, I've got 50 other people that are ahead of you.
right.
We can't really say that. We can't really say, hey, I'm doing, I've got this stack of wills I got to do before I can get to yours.
Yeah, it's
You don't
very
really want to
interesting.
say that,
Yeah,
but it's kind of the truth of it. But then we have the people that push their way to the front of the line. Some of them have to. Some of them have circumstances that are beyond their control, and they have to push their way to the front.
it's very
Um,
interesting for this is such a. I'm realizing this is sort of like a rural area special because I mean most law firms for a lot of businesses care about two parts. Number one part is the client acquisition part, and number two part is the streamlining to reduce administrative hassle part. And it sounds like for specifically a rural expert type of industry, doctors, lawyers in a rural area, it's not about client acquisition. Clients need help, and it's really about getting them the help that they need. And it's very interesting to me. And going off that, I mean, the bottlenecks that we identified are the information train that we identified, sorting information, recalling information, finding the useful information in a specific situation. That's the information train, number one. And number two is really the building a timeline for each specific case and sort of like a project management, sort of like a timeline. What do I do today? What do I do tomorrow that put together will make the case work? And number three is really the process streamlining. It's both that you spend less time to draft a document, but also you can make the billable hours more efficient and help more people with less cost to them. And number four is really the last billing part of how to make the billing process more efficient or even automated.
Absolutely. It's true. Those areas would be improved.
Mhm.
Yeah.
How much time do you think that you spend putting the information in, scheduling, and dealing with the clients that are walking in and calling? How much time do you think you actually spend per day dealing with all of that? And what is like the equal amount of what you could be doing
Yeah.
with the title opinions and the other work that you do?
What I think it's what part of your work that you feel like you're actually creating value versus some other part of work you feel like you're just going through the motions, you're not really creating your talent or your value to the client, but you're just going through emotions because you just got to do what you got to do.
I'd say easily half of my day is spent communicating with not only in person over the phone, but also through email. Because I also at the same time I've got calls and people coming in. I've got emails asking me for this, asking me for that. We need this, we need that. It might be. We also have all of our corporations and companies. We have several hundred of those that we respond to. They might need their operating agreement, they might need their certificate of organization, they might need this, they might need that, their bylaws or could you email that to me? Could I get that from you? So I'm also responding online constantly as well. So communicating throughout the day on the phone with people coming in and on email through my email. Meanwhile, still trying to get the work done. So easily half my day is spent just communicating with the clients.
And that time you spend communicating, that's not part of the billable hours, is it?
No, it really isn't. No, and we more flat rate bill. So some law offices do what's called flat fees. Some law offices bill by the minute. Um, Even though we have billable hours, quote unquote, those are more or less, those apply to the attorneys themselves, not to the legal assistants like me. We are going to flat fee. So It doesn't matter if I had to spend 4 hours. Let's say that would be really terrible. 2 hours. That's more of it. Let's say I had to spend 2 hours doing a title opinion, just to get it, because some are very complicated. Some are easier. Some are a lot harder. And sometimes I have to research. I have to go, into land records, or I have to look up things at the assessor, or find something out, or solve problems. Sometimes there's things that I realize, here's a real problem. We've got a title issue. I've got to do research. I may spend, several hours working on one because it's got problems. But I'm still going to charge that same flat fee, no matter how many hours it took me to get that work done. I'm just going to charge that flat fee. So it's, we don't have really high charges again, to our clients, and most of them are quite delighted. They're like, oh, okay, this wasn't as expensive as I thought. However, we're putting in the hours, we're putting in the time,
Yeah. And this is actually the interests are aligned because, for a lot of law firms, if they solely rely on billable hour, then finishing a task really fast is not the interest not aligned, because then my revenue will, from a revenue perspective, the revenue will actually go down if I finish the work sooner. But like, if we use like a flat fee approach, and from a revenue perspective, then the interests align. Both the law firm and the client want this to be done as fast as possible. Obviously, quality being the same, to have it done as fast as possible.
That's true. And we do really consider our clients. We try to keep our costs reasonable for our clients. It's very important to us. And we have a lot of return business. And because we keep our costs to a very, reasonable level, we have a lot of, we do not have to advertise at all. We have plenty of business. Our problem is we have more business than what we can handle right now.
Yeah.
But we're trying, we work hard.
Oh,
So,
yeah. Zoe and I know that you are, besides work in the legal field, you are also a good artist doing a lot of good oil painting. So let's go to the drawing board for a second.
Okay.
We identify those bottlenecks. I know, we're stepping a little bit away from the day-to-day work, from the conundrums, and we go to the drawing board. I know you mentioned that you already implemented some spreadsheet. That's sort of like how you envisioned it. In response to those 4 bottlenecks that we identified, on the drawing board, completely use your creativity. What would be how would you say to streamline this whole process to specifically attack those 4 bottlenecks that we identified?
Okay. Well, I really would like to have something that could log in the clients. We do have the database. We do. I wish there was some way I could start the clock rolling. Like, okay, so-and-so came in on Monday, this date. This is what the concern was. This is the phone call. This is the basic, to distill the phone call to 3 or 4 sentences. Okay, or this is the email they sent me. This was the basic problem that they need fixed. Or this is why they called. Or this is why they emailed. I start the clock ticking there. Okay. And something that identifies, okay, this is the type of thing it is. Okay. And this is what, who it was assigned to. This so-and-so, or what did we do? Well, okay, we scheduled an appointment with the attorney. Or we said, okay, we can help you. We'll get this information collected so that we can start the process for the next thing. So it would be nice, because I actually have another spreadsheet that I started that shows all the staff members. And this is for real estate. I created this one for real estate. It shows all the staff members and who's doing what, because we got to the point, because we are actually blending 2 law offices right now. One's in another town and one's in ours. So we're actually blending 2 law offices right now, which is, as you know, complicated. But I created this spreadsheet because I wanted our main attorney to understand and know who's doing what. So Maybe somebody did an offer to buy here. Somebody's doing the title opinion over here. This person's doing the deed package. This person's doing the closing. So I created a spreadsheet for that so that at a glance they can look up the clients and they can see, oh, okay, so this got done. This is who did it. So this is who I can ask. Oh, by the way, did you get that done? Because that there was some confusion. Nobody knew who's on first, what's on second. I don't know who's on third. You know what I mean? We didn't know. It was like, oh, who did that? Who did the offer to buy on this thing? You know, and you know, we were creating. You know, we were having this problem. So I created this spreadsheet. But I would like something that was like overall could say, so and so called. This is the day they called, or this is the day they came in. This was their concern. Start that clock ticking, okay? Not so we can charge them more. Gosh, no.
No.
I just want to know, how long was it? How long back did we start talking to them? And that way, when they call me next week and they say, hey, is that done yet? You know, I can say, okay, all right, I see that you called on such and such a date. I see you met with the attorney on such and such a date. This is what was done next. And this is when we should be able to get this next thing done for you. You know, that would be so nice, because I think that they get, you know, they feel like, oh, I called, I met with the attorney, and it's been a week or two. By gosh, this should be done. Or, you know, maybe it was just the next day. By gosh, why isn't it done yet? They kind of think we're McDonald's, you know, and we're not. You can't just.
McDonald's does provide. McDonald's is more efficient in making burgers than a local diner.
Yeah, I would say that's
Burger
true.
quality is, you know, it's burger's burger.
That's right. I would hope, though, that when it comes to law, you really don't want something that spits out the same, you know, because the problem is everybody's, no matter how much some things are the same, everybody's things are just a little different, because each human being is different. Just like a snowflake, or like anything, each human being is unique and different. So they have different needs and different issues. And so we can't, I know they think everything's cookie cutter. It's really not as cookie cutter as they think it is. I mean, they really think, oh, you just should be able to spit it out tomorrow. Well, not really.
We want that, but it's not. Every client is different. Every client journey at different stages of their life, every case is different, and you have to have a customized client journey.
It's true. And honestly, there have been some who've been phenomenally patient. I mean, and I feel bad that they've had to be. But at the same time, we're trying really hard. But what they can't see, and we can't tell them, is the other people that maybe somebody came in with an emergency custody case. Maybe somebody came in with somebody who's going to die in a month, and they've got to have that power of attorney now, or they've got to have their will done now because they've got cancer and they're stage 4. They can't see that. You know, they can only see what is their issue. I can't tell them I'm taking care of all these people over here. You know, they can't see the triage that's happening. I don't know that, I don't believe there's any way to really help with that, except that we can, if we are making them feel, you know, that's really important. They need to feel that they're a priority. They need to feel like they're, you know, a lot of times people just kind of think, well, they're our only client. You know, it's just the way it is, you know, and it's human nature. I don't want them to feel good like that. I want them to feel like, yeah, they are vital, and they are. They're important, they're vital to us. I also want them to understand, okay, you can expect it to take, unless this is an emergency, you can expect it to take a few weeks. It may take a couple weeks for us to get this done for you. I'm not going to be able to have this done tomorrow. You know, I don't know if it's how we talk to them when they come in. I do try to do that with probate for them, because honestly, you just have to expect probate to take at least a year to a year and a half to 2 years. It's just going to take that time. It's because of those waiting periods that are mandatory that you can't. And then you might get a judge who is taking some time to make a decision. Now, you want your judges to be informed and take time and make good decisions, because those judges don't get their decisions overturned. Those are good judges. And they might be like, the judge that has the widow like bugging him. It's like, okay, fine, here's the decision. Actually, what's kind of funny on that is that when you have that kind of situation, the legal thing that they say when attorneys talk to judges, that they pray for relief. That's what they say. They actually say they pray for relief. That means judge, make a decision. But we have judges that, we have to wait on as well. So we have to wait for the judge to make up their mind. It'd be good if we had a way to be able to inform the client, hey, you're important to us, you're vital to us, we saw you here, or you called, here's when you met with the attorney. Now, work has to happen. You're not going to hear from us for a little bit of time. Or maybe, hey, check in with us. Maybe there's a check-in date, automatic, that we can build in. Like, hey, we'll call you, or you can call us in a week or whatever. Like maybe we have set up automatic check-in dates.
Yeah, the uncertainties is if I needed something to be done and I called and you put something together and maybe not yet, and they want to have an update. So maybe they will call this line, and the line will, the person who's answering the line will know exactly the progress and what's going on, to give them assurance of, okay, this is what has happened since the last time you called, and this is what will happen, and here's the timeline. And at any point they call during this timeline, they will get a reassurance.
Yes. I try to reassure them.
Mm-hmm. Or, one thing that I really like, especially with online shopping, there's always, when you look at the order, you can get an update, and it shows the different processes and checkpoints throughout, and you can see the progress.
Yeah.
That
also,
would be great.
Also depends on people. Some people might not tech savvy, and they prefer a dashboard that they can just check. It's like Amazon checking the process. Or somebody is more personal. They want to call a line and talk to somebody to be narrated on that progress.
Exactly. That's what a lot of them do, is then they'll call to see, oh, hey, where's that at? Where are you guys at with that? And that is another area that we could improve.
Well,
so
I
see.
Got the fifth bottleneck. We just got beyond the four bottlenecks we identified. This is the fifth bottleneck, is to assure the clients, basically, to eliminate the uncertainties and reassure them that the case is moving. Where is their case at, and they are still a priority.
Exactly. Because they're important to us, and we don't want them to feel that they're not.
Right.
So as we're wrapping up today, sorry.
No, you're good.
If you could solve one major challenge today, what would it be?
Wow. Okay, that's a good question. I think it would be fantastic to have the timeline. Get that clock ticking, where, okay, we saw this person, on this date. Here's the basic thing. Here's their information. This is where we're at. And be able to communicate that to them, that, yes, you're important to us. We're working on your case. We want to get this done for you. Or even just a way to reach out to the clients, because we also have I can identify one more bottleneck for you. When we get things done, calling them to say, hey, by the way, come in. We're going to schedule you to come in so you can sign. It's so funny. We'll have people who complain, well, they haven't got it done. So we hurry up and get it done. And then we call them. Okay, it's ready. Silence. They don't call. They don't come in. It's been weeks. We still have it in the rack. We'd like them to come in to sign.
Got to follow up. Just got to.
They don't. It's crazy.
Every 3 days.
I don't know what that is. But I think it would be really great. So I think it's a communication thing. I think we need to improve that the most. I think if we could have that, then that take care of those things for us. The basic, get your information, get you scheduled. Let's follow up with you at this date. And maybe build those in that follow-up date. Let's build, let's follow up with you in a week, or let's follow up with you in 2 weeks, just depending on what we're working on.
Yeah. So
Even to call them to say, hey, come in and get your abstract. We got your title opinion done, we got your closing done. Hey, you got your new land. Yay for you. Come get your abstract. They're supposed to come get them. They're stacking up. Come get them.
Yeah.
But I don't have time to call them and say, come get them. I call them.
we've identified 5 different bottlenecks today.
Yes,
We got
we have.
information. We got the information recalling, information process. We got the timeline for each client. What are the different timelines? We got the third part is the process streamlining to make everything, to make something written faster, for the process to work. The fourth is billing, to have by the end of the client journey, the billing is already there, ready to be sent to them. And number 5 is the client communication to both ensure, 3 parts to that, to both ensure they feel good about, they're getting prioritized, to have an organized way to request documents, give them updates, and to follow up with them both on, are you going to pay a bill, or are you going to come to do your next steps? We're done here. It's we've identified 5 different bottlenecks today.
Yes. And Gailanne, thanks so much for sharing your insights on the operational side of a successful legal practice. This was incredibly valuable, and I really appreciate your time.
Thank you. I enjoyed talking to you guys.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank
It was
you.
really very valuable. And
Absolutely.
very productive. I identified a lot of bottlenecks.
Well, you guys have a good day. Thank you.